Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Pranzata Podcast. This is your host, Andrea Pranzatelli. This is episode number 105 on the Pranzata Podcast series on YouTube. I have two guests today. This is a very exciting day on the Pranzata Podcast because not only is it my first episode in my new apartment in Philadelphia, but it's also my first time having two people on the podcast at once. They are lovers sharing a microphone right now. So because I didn't have an extra microphone for them.
Real close.
But just to introduce who they are, I now have two. I've already interviewed one member from Jersey Calling, the punk rock band from South Jersey and Philadelphia. But now I have two band members from Jersey Calling. We have Josh, who sings and plays guitar in the band. And we have Josh and John. It's like a biblical story today. But we have John, who plays drums. And he also happens to be a restaurant owner. Yeah. And he also happens to be a former Marine. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So I have a lot of questions. I have some group questions, some individual questions. Before we get into it, if you are new to this channel and you like what you hear today, please don't forget to hit subscribe. It is my mission to grow this channel this year, and your support would be incredibly helpful. Okay. So my first question, for whoever wants to answer it, how did you guys originally become a band?
I guess that would be for me. Because so we started as a band in 2002. Sean, who was on the show before, and I had a band called Burn Kate. That band dissolved, and Sean and I wanted to keep going. So we started Jersey Calling. We named it after the album London Calling by The Clash.
I know what that is.
Yeah, we really liked The Clash. We were on a big Clash kick at the time. So we started the band, same kind of music, definitely the same genre, and just kept writing songs. In 2005, the band, we kind of went our separate ways. Everyone started doing adult things and, having families and getting careers. And, we didn't do music together for a while. And that's not to say that we didn't do music at all. Like Sean was in a bunch of different like bluegrass bands and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
I joined a couple different punk bands. And then in 2020, when the pandemic happened, I wrote a litany of new songs. I hadn't written music in over 10 years at that point. And so I called up Sean and Randy, the other two founding members of the band. And we decided to write another album together. And we called up my friend Jose, who played drums. He drummed on that album. And then after a while, he just kind of had to step away. He is a father of two high school age kids.
Yeah.
And he wants to spend as much time as he can with them before they graduate and go on to college. So when he left, we were looking for a drummer for a while, man. It was really a struggle. Like we did a lot of acoustic gigs. We did some fill-ins. And then finally, I put something, I think it was on Facebook. Yeah. And it was the worst ad ever. I said something along the lines of like bunch of middle-aged punks looking for a drummer who can play like 2 to 3 times a month. We practice like once a month and we never get paid. Hope I'm not overselling it.
And he fit the bill perfectly.
And he responded and he was into the idea. I was like, awesome, dude.
It's funny you say about looking for a band member. Our band is also looking for a bass player. So I'm the lead singer from my band, Arcane Jane. I'm the lead singer and piano player. We have a drummer and a guitarist. The three of us are so tight. Like it feels like we're all related. Like we just have like a tight bond. We have been through bass players. Like we can't find a bass player to fit the bill for us just yet. So same thing. Like we have rotating, like we're doing a gig at Bowery Ballroom in New York City this weekend. And we have just like a random guy we've never rehearsed with before, like doing the gig with us. So like on the lineup, like on the description, it's like talks about like, details about each player. And then we're like bass player, revolving person. Like we just don't know.
Just put question.
Yeah. All right. So my next question for you guys about the band, you sort of answered this a little bit, but my question was going to be, one thing I really like about your band is that every time I see you guys together, I've seen you guys once and I see you guys online a lot.
Different drummers.
You see,
different guy behind the chair.
Who's that guy?
Besides there being a new drummer, the other members that I see, you guys seem to have a really tight relationship. Am I correct about that?
Oh yeah. Sean was the best man at my wedding. Randy was he would have been at the wedding, but he had his accident that weekend. Like it was like a week before the wedding, he fell off his roof. As he's a Philadelphia firefighter, and he was in the hospital for the entire time during our wedding, which is really sad. I mean, it was awesome that I got to have my bachelor party with him. He's a blast. He really is just like a party animal, that dude. Yeah. He's so fun to be around.
Yeah.
And it was sad that he couldn't be at the wedding, but he was definitely there in spirit.
How's your band? So you're very tight now. How's your band over the years had any like drama conflicts that you had to overcome, or has it always been like a pretty solid, tight relationship since day one? Besides him, obviously, because he just got here. He's gonna be the one to screw it all up now.
Nah, John's so easygoing. I don't see that happening. At least you seem that way so far, man. Like, I don't know. There's no drama on this guy's end so far.
Like, have you had any, like, we almost broke up as a band, like stuff like that?
I mean,
kicked a band member out, like any.
Over the years, especially in the early years, between 2002 and 2005, we were really tight as a 4-piece. So it was me, Sean, Randy, and this guy, Phil. And Phil decided he didn't. Well, it was Sean who was moving to Montana.
Yeah.
So Sean was moving, getting out of the state. So we couldn't have Sean in the band, obviously, at that point. So Phil decided he didn't want to be in the band anymore.
Yeah.
If Sean was leaving, and it wasn't really dramatic. It was more sad because Sean has been my best friend since high school.
Yeah.
I mean, we went to the same high school. I remember senior year sitting in back of him in health class, and that was when I met him. I remember the health teacher was oh, does anyone here already know what college they're going to? And he raised his hand, and I'm like, I don't even know this guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I'm going to the University of Montana. I'm like, who goes to Montana willingly? So, I got to know him a little bit. He said he played guitar, and I kind of played guitar. I still kind of play guitar.
Yeah.
I'm definitely the least talented guitarist in the band. And now we have 3.
I feel like having that, I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I feel like having that tight relationship really helps with the band in general.
Totally.
And it's when you have that, it's pretty magic. I feel like a lot of bands end up breaking up over different things. You know what I mean? So if you have that, it's pretty valuable. I would say.
No, and we have disagreements, but there's always I feel like there's always a mutual respect there.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can talk to Randy about anything. I can talk to Sean about anything. And I mean, we've just known each other for so long at this point, man.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
I know some of the best bands I know have that type of vibe with each other. Okay, the next question is a strange segue. So I'm going to kind of bounce around ideas like both of you. I guess you could go next since I didn't hear you much talk.
He said he likes the mic, so.
So my question is,
microphone whore.
This podcast for me is often my personal therapy. I just ask my guests questions that I'm looking for the answer to. So I'm maybe these people have wisdom that I could get from them. Lately,
so we're helping you then.
What's that?
We're self-helping you then.
Yes, you're my self-help book.
We'll bill you later.
So lately, I've been struggling with resentments, holding on to grudges, replaying bad memories from past relationships that went sour. My question for you guys is, how are you with resentment? Do you let go of wrongdoings easily, or do you hold grudges? And if you are good at this, what helps you? So I guess I'll have you go first.
Me? That's the worst person to ask. Because I'll hold a grudge for
really
40 years. Yeah.
Okay.
So I usually hold grudges.
Okay. So
if I feel like I'm done wrong,
lately I've been feeling that way too. Yeah. And it's I'm starting to realize as I age that it's a problem that hurts me probably more than it hurts the other person. Cause I said, I replay. Do you do that? Do you replay the old memories, or do you only when you say you hold the grudge, are you actively in your mind still angry for 4 years, or you just don't talk to them?
I don't talk to them, or I let them know that I don't like them. And then they pretty much get down and say, all right.
What about you?
I mean, I feel like that's a pretty healthy way to do it. You just confront the person, say, no, I don't want anything to do with you. And then wash your hands of it. That's nice.
Yeah.
So for me, I can't afford to have resentments.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit before, and I'm in recovery, and part of the cult that I'm in, has, a pretty anti-resentment feel to it, because those are the kind of things that can lead me back to the dark decisions that I used to make in my life.
Yeah.
So whenever I have a resentment, I pretty much need to talk about it. I can't sit on it for too long. I usually talk about that with my friend Steve. That's my sponsor.
Yeah.
And then I could talk about, sometimes I talk about it with Sean, really close to Sean. I certainly have talked his ear off about like struggles that I've had in my life regarding like anything, relationships, work, sometimes the band, because like, we're starting to get really busy and that can get really stressful. And like, we've bounced off each other and been each other's sounding boards for that kind of thing. And I'm really grateful that I have those kind of relationships in my life. Like I have a really tight group of like guy friends that I've known since high school, which is weird because like I didn't go to high school with them. I just like have known them since then.
Yeah.
And it's like the most chill group of guys, like, cause like we can hang around and do guy things like make dick jokes and like, and like, like, I don't know, do stereotypical guy things, but we also like get vulnerable with each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's super important as a guy to like have people that you can actually like open up and be real with.
I agree with you that those like 12-step programs, I'm assuming is what you're talking about. They're very helpful with like learning how to be vulnerable with people.
Yeah. And I think, there's a couple of us in that friend group that are in 12-step groups. And like that probably just kind of organically carried over from when we got sober into the group and we just kind of started doing it. And the other guys are probably kind of like, oh, we can talk about this kind of stuff now?
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. Here's what I'm... And then they would dump about something, too. And, a shared problem is a problem half solved.
Yeah. No, that's great. Okay. My next question for you guys, it's for both of you. Oh, no, wait. No. That's coming later. Okay. This question is for John. You own a restaurant. So I'm really fascinated about that. I want to hear more about that. What kind of restaurant do you own?
It's just breakfast and lunch.
Oh, really?
And
okay.
It's been around 102 years.
Oh, wow.
So
I'm the third generation.
Oh, you're third. So it's like a family-owned restaurant?
Yeah. Well, we were originally downtown in Wilmington for 70 years.
Okay.
We never owned the building.
Okay.
And then my dad took over.
Yeah.
And then like 25 years ago, I bought him out. So here we are.
Okay. My next question was going to be, but I guess the answer is going to be completely different. So my question was going to be, what does it take to open a restaurant? But you bought it out. So do you remember the backstory of how it opened? Like the original backstory?
Well, my grandfather came over from Greece, and then him and his uncle went up a restaurant or a candy store, turned into a restaurant, and then just became. It was like a staple in Wilmington.
What's it like?
Especially in the 50s.
What's it like owning a restaurant today?
Pain in the ass. But I'm very fortunate. I got like the best staff.
Yeah.
They're all been with me like 15, 20 years. So.
Did you take a hit during the pandemic?
Yeah. I was basically working on my own because I had to shut down.
Yeah. You didn't do any like the DoorDash stuff? Like you weren't able to do that?
I just started doing Grubhub.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is they want 21% of your profits.
Oh, they do?
So what you got to do is I got to mark up to get my costs. I got to add another 21% to each item on the Grubhub.
That's why it's so expensive.
Grubhub's crazy.
And what it is, like today I had a lady come in and she goes, I'm picking up for so-and-so. I said, this is your order? She goes, yeah, I caught it. I got it from Grubhub. I'm like, why don't you just call me direct? You would have saved $8. Oh, really? I didn't know that. So I gave her the business card and.
Yeah, no, Grubhub is expensive.
Grubhub is for me personally. I think it's sort of lazy people because they just don't want to get up. I mean,
yeah, I've done. I've done.
I should say this. I mean, you live in Philly, so I mean, I know. Like, an old bandmate's like, "Hey, can you pick me up?" I'm like, "Well, see, it's 2 blocks." He goes, "Yeah, but I won't lose my parking spot."
Yeah, no, for me, it's not the parking spot because like here the parking's not too bad. But the first week I lived here, I've only been here for like 2 weeks at this point. But the beginning of the week, there was still some construction going on in here. So my kitchen wasn't usable for a few days. So there were people working on the house.
I guess I should be mean saying lazy.
No, you're good.
Me personally, I go out, I don't want somebody delivering it. Because then now, the thing I'm worried about Grubhub is like, all right, they order the food.
Yeah.
And it's ready in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But the driver takes an hour.
So then it gets cold.
So now they're getting cold food. I'm like, I don't want to serve cold food. I'm like,
yeah. I definitely do it sometimes. So sometimes I get
cold food.
Yeah, I do the Grubhub thing.
Oh,
And
I do Grubhub. I did it yesterday. Like I am lazy when it comes to food. That's one thing where I'm just like, I don't care. I will throw something in the microwave. I'll pay 21% extra on Grubhub.
I think it's more than lazy.
And Grubhub is 21%. DoorDash is 25%.
Damn, I didn't.
Yeah.
But I think it's more than lazy. I think it's just like the younger people.
That's what they say, the millennials. That's why the guy sold it to me. Grubhub goes, everybody wants Grubhub. I'm like, well,
just the iPhone stuff and like being able to get. We get Amazon. We get things Amazon to us the next day. So it's like a spoiled. I think it's like a spoiled thing more than it is a lazy thing.
I'm addicted to convenience.
Yeah,
I am.
Me too. Life is changing, but whatever.
Sorry to insult you.
No.
I'm not insulted. I'm not insulted. You're good.
Listen, I'm learning. 21%. That's wild.
Look at all that money you could have been saving, Josh.
I actually drove. Now, here's not a lazy thing. I drove for Grubhub, and they don't pay a lot.
No.
That's the ironic thing.
And they don't, and you can't tip the drivers because it's like an Uber. It's like you don't tip the drivers. It's like whatever the fee is.
Yeah.
And Uber pays them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had some clients tell me, not clients. I had some friends tell me, oh, whenever I order from Grubhub, I always don't tip on the app. I tip cash. But then I'm like, well, I'm a driver. And if they show you what your tip is in advance or whatever, or they show you how much you get paid in advance and including the tip, and I won't pick them. So some of the people who are trying to pay me in cash, I would never know, because it's a risk, because you see a low price and then you don't know.
So you know exactly what you're going to make per delivery?
Yeah. And you take a risk because you don't know for sure if they're going to bring cash tip or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they leave a good tip on the actual thing, it'll show up when you take the order. The one thing I like about driving for Grubhub is you get to pick and choose which orders and what direction and stuff. But yeah, it's it's a good short-term fix for making money, but in the long term, it's you're using a lot of gas.
Did you ever feel threatened, going up to a door and saying, "Here's your food"? Or
for Uber, I have. I've never felt threatened doing. The only time I felt threatened doing, I think it was DoorDash, was a dog. There was a crazy dog on the lawn, and I didn't see the sign because it was late at night, and the sign was watch, beware of dog. And it wasn't a big dog. It was a small, little pug or something, but he was vicious. He was trying to bite me. So
little ones always.
Or you wanted the food, one or the other.
They had a sign on the lawn. They're the dog is dangerous, beware. And it was this little bulldog or pug or something. And he was chasing me down, trying to bite my leg. So I was holy shit. That was the only time I was ever threatened driving, but I have felt threatened driving for Uber several times, with strange men in the car and stuff like that.
So you're saying that tech companies exploit their workers and gouge their customers?
Yeah.
What?
Which is crazy when you think about it, because what's the overhead pay for them to run an app? I mean, maybe I'm speaking insensitively because I don't own an app, but they create the app, and then what do they do after that?
I'm just going to assume they're greedy, and I don't feel bad if I'm
You're talking about Grubhub or something?
Yeah, why do they require so much percentage of the pay? Because
so they can get paid.
Yeah, but they're just
I mean,
ripping people off essentially.
Yeah, I mean, COVID really boosted their sales, and people just kept they love the convenience. They just continued it even after COVID.
I will say driving. That's when I started doing DoorDash. Driving for DoorDash in the pandemic was amazing because nobody was on the road. Yeah. It was awesome.
It's you
can just
on 95.
And doing it at night was so much fun because there's especially nobody on the road. You can just fly from restaurant to house, and it was just such easy money when I was in a situation where I didn't have any other options. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, going to get groceries during the pandemic was great. There are many things I miss about the pandemic.
Well,
it was great.
Some would say
I really enjoyed it. I did.
What were some of the things you liked about the pandemic?
So I was a teacher. So I worked remotely. That was kind of nice to be able to just work from my apartment. I don't think it was effective whatsoever when it comes to education. So I enjoyed the laziness of being at home.
Yeah.
Do I think that what I was doing was effective? No. I think remote education was it was something that we did at the time because we didn't have another option really.
Yeah.
But it kids are behind. All the studies are showing that every kid is still struggling to catch up to where they were.
I think the pandemic is one of the primary reasons why there's such a shift in people's mentalities. They got so used to being at home that's why they're addicted to that convenience now. I mean, my dad, he's not a millennial. He's like a boomer technically, and he's exactly the same way. He's like, why the fuck didn't I live my whole life like this?
Well, I mean, there's so many jobs that like you don't need to be there in person.
Yeah.
Like my sister worked for a tech company. I don't want to like name them because I don't want to get my sister in trouble or anything.
Yeah.
But like she worked for an online clothing company, and she used to go into work every day. And she lived in a major city, so she would like walk there. And it was like 2 miles. And now she works from home, and that was something that got started during the pandemic. And like very few people return to the office because like,
if you work in a cubicle, why
doing the same thing?
Yeah. Right? And I like doing desk work from home too, because you could like take a break to cook something, take a break to use the bathroom, like take a break to like make a cup of tea. Like you can like actually be like, I sit on the couch sometimes and do like work from home. So it's like, it's just so much more comfortable. It's like a more comfortable style of being. I teach music lessons, and I used to teach I have my own business teaching piano lessons, and I used to teach mostly in person. And after the pandemic, like 85% of my students wanted to stay virtual. No one wanted to come in person anymore. It's crazy.
It's inconvenient. You got to drive, you got to park, you got to, I mean, I'm happy we're here in person. It's great to be
here. God damn.
And not every tech company is evil.
Okay, so moving on. Okay, I do have a question for Josh now. Going back to the addiction, you shared with me that you overcame alcohol addiction. Mm-hmm. First of all, kudos to you for that. That's incredible.
Thanks.
In your process of becoming sober, had you developed any spiritual faith?
So spiritual, yes. Religious, definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised religious, and I think most people that are raised religious at one point have a chip on their shoulder about that religion. And I was definitely one of those guys. And like, in 12-step programs, part of it is finding a higher power. And so like, what's nice about it is like, like you could choose whatever you want as that. For me, it's like just the abstract idea of love. And not like just romantic love, but like love for a family member, love for friends, love of music, love for, obviously for my wife. So romantic love is included, obviously. But there's so many things that you can love. Like I love my job. I love being able to play music. I love that I have a job that allows me the time to do the things that I really love to do as well. Like I love playing music. I love skateboarding. I love surfing. I love like all the things that I get to do. Because now I don't constantly think about drinking. That's pretty sweet.
So I also have experience with 12-step programs, just to explain to the listeners like where I'm coming from. So 12-step programs don't only have Alcoholic Anonymous. They have like Narcotics Anonymous, Overeaters Anonymous. They've branched out into so many different things. I go to something called SLAA. It's called Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous. For the men listening, I'm not a sex addict, so don't get your hopes up. I'm the love addict. And by love addict,
comments off.
Yeah. by love addict, I mean I've had a series of unstable relationships in my life. And then by the time I was 35 and I realized, wow, I've been dating and living with X amount of men, moved into this many apartments, thinking I was going to get married to this guy. We moved in together, broke up, repeated the cycle. I was like, I might have a problem. Like there's something going on here.
6 engagement rings.
What's that?
You have like 6 engagement
rings. Not engagement rings, but just
promise rings.
Just like a bunch of really serious relationships that didn't work out. So after a while, I had found out about SLAA. And typically, I don't want to stereotype, but typically what I've noticed is the men in the program typically relate more to the sex part of it. Like they have infidelity issues, pornography issues, etc. And a lot of the women are more like me. It could cross over. I don't want to generalize. There could be women who are sex addicts. There could be men that are love addicts. But I heard about it through a podcaster that I listened to, Whitney Cummings. She was like, yeah, I went to SLAA. And I noticed that she also had been like dating chronically, and she was like 38, 39, 40. I think she's still going through it. She's like 40 years old, pregnant, but single. She broke up with the father. So I was like, if she goes to that, maybe that's something that would work for me. And I found it was like incredibly helpful that, am I a love addict? I don't know, but there's definitely some stuff in that program that I really related to. There's something interesting about, no, I'm not an alcoholic, but I do have a lot of the same issues that an alcoholic would have, and like repeated cycles that are not working for you, sort of thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that like, I think kind of unraveled with my addiction as well, as like, like going through the 12 steps.
Yeah.
You address like your relationships.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of codependency. There was a lot of,
that's the type of stuff they talk about in SLA, like codependence.
I wrote a song on our album 2020 called In Love with the Idea of Being in Love. Because for such a long time, I just wanted to be in love so bad. Like every girl that I ever had a relationship, like within a month, I'm saying I love you.
Yeah.
And like, do I even really know this person? Like, I'm throwing the word love out there.
So that's what I had experienced as well. I would meet these guys, like really not know them very well, and throw myself. And that's where the love addiction comes in, because it's like you throw yourself into this completely, like you don't do the interview process of like, are there red flags? You don't find that out till later. And then you just repeat this cycle of like getting into these serious relationships. I'm like looking around me, all my friends are in their 30s, like 40s. They have kids, they have marriages. And I'm just like, I'm acting like I'm still 21. Like, and
it's all the same thing. It's just chasing dopamine.
Yeah,
it's just chasing dopamine.
It's the dopamine rush of
100%
falling in love, the honeymoon phase. And when the honeymoon phase is over and you're like left with the actual reality of what it's like to be in a relationship, you can't cope with it. And a lot of the people in the like program, they might self-destruct. Infidelity does happen with some people, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So that's my end of it. And interesting enough, they use the Alcoholics Anonymous book often in that program because the literature is so helpful for them as well. So it's super interesting. Yeah. But okay, next question. Oh, last question for you about this topic. What helps you stay sober today?
Man. I mean, I still attend meetings. If any of my home group members are watching this, they will point out that I do not attend as often as I should. Guilty. I get real busy, and it's a shame that sometimes like the gifts that like I'm given in sobriety are the things that take me away from the things that originally got me sober. But I try to stay active as much as humanly possible. I also am in close contact with like other guys in my network that are sober, that like, that get it, that have been through this whole thing. Good friend of mine is, he's my like grand sponsor and like my sponsor. They were both at my wedding, both these guys. And then like, I'm just real honest. Like I'm bad at keeping secrets anymore. I'm bad at lying. It's funny. My wife asked me tonight, she's like, have you ever lied to me? And I'm like, no. And she's like, that's not true. You had a cigar and then you came home and you said you didn't have a cigar. I'm like, okay, all right. I lied about that. That's true.
Lied about lying.
Like, I don't lie about anything really serious because like I can't, like it's going to kill me if I try to keep that inside at this point. Yeah.
There's such thing as a white lie.
Sure.
Like you can't not lie.
Sure.
Like you can't stick so true to the rule of lying that you're willing to be honest in all circumstances.
Absolutely.
Like there's the classic example of this when your wife comes and says, "Do I look fat?" Like how do you how do you deal with that? Or like, there's obvious things like surprise parties. Like you can't be like, well, I'm not allowed to lie, so your surprise party is going to be this Friday.
That's funny. That's actually the thing that I threw back at her. I'm like, well, you threw that surprise party for me and you lied about it by not telling me that it was a surprise party. She's like, that's not the same. And if you don't understand how that's not the same, then I can't help you. I'm like,
or like if I'm dating somebody and I'm like, tell me the truth. Am I the best sex you ever had? You better fucking say yes. You better not.
Let me think about that.
That would be a bold statement. Now, it's okay.
Actually, that was in the movie Liar Liar. Do you remember the movie Liar Liar? Where he couldn't lie. He hooked up with a lady and she was like, how was it? And he goes, I've had better. She kicked him out. All right. Okay, I have a question for you about being a Marine. So you were a Marine. has there been any ways that being a Marine has changed the way you think? Like, are you hyper vigilant, protective, looking for danger, like anything like that?
Yeah, I just won't take shit from anybody. Because after being in boot camp and dealing with people who I felt were idiots above you, telling you what to do, I'm like, I couldn't take it.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I got out.
Oh, you weren't in it for a long...
I did 4 years.
Oh, you did 4 years. Okay.
And
it seems like a long time.
So what... Yeah. But like when I go to a restaurant, I always have to be looking at the front door, for safety wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep my eyes open more.
Yeah.
Gave me obviously confidence.
Yeah.
Just typical military.
Yeah, you're probably like, you have that don't take shit, like hold grudges and tell people to fuck off attitude that probably comes from the military, I'm sure. Yeah, no, it's funny. I've been like more hyper vigilant lately just being in a city. I've only been here for like a week and a half, 2 weeks ish. And it already feels like, oh, I have to watch myself. Yeah. Like I literally was Googling like bulletproof vests, like stuff like that. Because you never know. You know what I mean? Like it's good to be prepared in any situation.
Walk around like pepper spray or a knife or something. Just
a little mace. I feel like is pretty standard. A bulletproof vest seems a little.
I'm not saying I would walk around with one, but I wouldn't mind keeping it in the house in case there was like a break and enter type of situation.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna help you much.
I do have mace. I think a knife would be worse for me because I'd be like afraid.
Well, you can get a gun license in PA.
That's true.
Which is fairly easy.
Yeah, you could get a gun license. I think a knife I would be so afraid to use it that the person would just take it from me and kill me with it. I think that's what
I feel like a knife could go. Yeah, that could go real messy, real fast. Yeah. Not that a gun couldn't, but like
there's definitely more like
with you have to get real close to somebody to stab them.
Yeah.
With a gun, you can stand across the room
what I mean.
At least and like point it.
Like I wouldn't know. I would have to get trained on how to use a knife. I don't even know if there is such a thing. Like
I'd be
knife
way
training.
more afraid to like go.
Well, let's say they were right up. Let's say they were right up on you.
What's that?
If they're right up on you, you have no choice. I mean,
yeah.
Stand back so they can maybe stab you.
Or like, where would you even? What would be the best place to knife them? Their throat? Like, what would be the?
I would think so. Like, if you're trying to kill them, it's got to be the throat, right?
So I didn't know this. I interviewed somebody who's a gun instructor once on the podcast. And I always thought oh, if somebody breaks and enters your house, why don't you just shoot him in the foot so that you don't kill them and they have a chance of surviving if they weren't, because apparently you're only allowed to kill someone if they have intent of killing you. And you have to be able to prove that in court. If someone breaks into your house to steal something, you're not legally allowed to kill them.
Is that in PA?
It was in New Jersey. I don't know if it's in PA. So I was
like when I got mine in Delaware, it's like if the guy's leaving your house, you can't shoot him in the back.
Okay.
Now, if he's looking at you, you can peg him.
Well, I asked my friend, I was like, can't you just shoot them like somewhere that won't kill them? It'll just injure them. And he's like, no. He's like, in gun training, we train that every shot is intended to destroy. And I'm like, wow.
So I'll go
destroy.
Yeah.
Is that the word he used? Destroy?
I don't know if he used destroy. I think he used the same like literature that they use in the class. Like it's completely abolish, like whatever. Just get rid of.
Destroy makes me think that the person is exploding.
Yeah.
Well, that bullets explode.
Kill.
That's
dead. Not exist. They're cease to exist. Like that's he said that's the I don't know exact word he used, but it was something like that.
If you shoot them in the kneecap, they're going to remember you for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
That's why I look at it.
That's actually a really good point. They're going to know your address. And
I remember I tried to rob this girl and she got me right in the kneecaps. Like, he will never forget you.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Fuck him up.
That's a Marine. That's somebody who's been
that's Marine. That's what I would do. I mean, I would prefer to kill him, but
I would not want to be shot in the knee.
Also, here's the other thing too. That's like super confusing. So this is the New Jersey law. If you shoot at somebody, you're only legally allowed to kill them or shoot at them, period, because you're supposed to try to kill them if you shoot at them. You're only allowed to shoot at them if you believe they are going to kill you. But how could you prove?
See, how can you prove that?
That's the part.
Jersey, I don't know.
Yeah, trick them. Are you trying to kill me?
Like record it.
Yeah, record it. You're on video.
And also that he said that you get arrested and go to jail no matter what, and then you go to trial to find out like what happened.
New Jersey's one of the strictest for gun laws in the country as far as from what I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have a license to carry. There's no way I would carry it in Jersey. I wouldn't even keep it in a car.
And Pennsylvania is different, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty lax to get. I mean, it's it's lax to get the license because I got a Darwin one, and then all I had to do was sign up for the PA one, and it's good for like 13 other states, I believe.
Yeah, I heard gunshots.
Jersey's not one of them.
What's that?
Jersey's not one of them.
Yeah. I heard gunshots in Jersey recently, and like I'm like, someone's shooting in their backyard or something. Like it didn't seem like a dangerous situation. It was just like in a really peaceful like street, and I just heard like from someone's backyard. I'm like, were they shooting a BB gun or something? It was just like strange. I heard gunshots. It's like
what, around here?
No, not around here. In New Jersey.
In New Jersey, yeah, that is pretty rare. If you go like down to the sticks of like South Jersey, like there are a couple gun ranges down there. I've been to one there, and yeah, it's a little bit different down there. You know, there's a rodeo in New Jersey.
Cowtown.
No.
There is a rodeo
in
New Jersey. Right? Cowtown Rodeo. Yeah.
Is it in South Jersey?
It's South Jersey, yeah. But like it feels like
it's Alabama, like a huge flea market outside.
Yeah.
Too.
South Jersey is a very different experience than North Jersey. I used to live in central-ish North Jersey, like New Brunswick-ish area. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. Yeah, I didn't live in New Brunswick, but I usually just say that because that's like the most popular place that people would recognize.
You got Rutgers there.
Yeah. So South Jersey is such a different experience compared to North Jersey.
It's so different too, man. Like you got Camden City, Cherry Hill, and you've got like Vineland, and then you've got Cowtown.
Yeah.
Which is like for all intents and purposes, Alabama. It's Alabama. Just
I'm gonna have to check that out. I've never been there before.
Yeah, Victoria sang the national anthem at Cowtown. It was different.
Is that the lead singer of your band?
Yeah, that's the other singer of the band. Yeah. It's my wife. Yeah.
Oh, she's your wife.
Yes.
Oh, that's so cool. I didn't realize you guys were married. That's interesting.
That's the only way I know she won't quit the band.
I dated. My dating history. I dated the drummer of my band, and we broke up, and we still play together.
You could or you could.
We do.
That's a no doubt situation.
Yeah, it's a no doubt, and we get along. Or we play great together.
Cool.
Like we're not going to let that go. You know.
Hey, good on you guys for being adults about it.
No doubt made millions off that breakup.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
The
whole album.
Kingdom? Yeah.
My only concern about it is when I want to start dating again. Will the man I date be jealous? Like, would you be jealous?
Oh.
So, like, are you guys both married?
Yeah, and I mean, so
if your wife was in a band with her ex,
Victoria's in a cover band with 11 people, and she's the only.
She dated all of them. No, just kidding.
Yeah, yes. But she's never dated any of them. Maybe if she dated one of them, I would feel different. I don't know. I don't feel weird about her going to practice or doing gigs or anything like that. Yeah, I don't know. I might be rough. I probably would. I'm a little bit of the jealous type.
Yeah.
Like, I like to, like have trust and let each other have our independence and everything. But like, I'm also only human.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I'm the jealous type too. But thankfully, I've met some people who are not the jealous type. So hopefully I can find somebody who just can accept the situation.
Yeah. Who can just trust that you're,
Yeah.
You're not doing anything sleazy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What about you? Are you married?
No.
If you were married and your wife was in a band with her ex, would you be?
Well, I do go out with a girl who's a singer.
Yeah.
And I don't really get jealous. That's how I met her.
See, that's what I mean.
I met her being in a band.
Yeah.
She filled in for my band.
My
bands. And then she's doing her own thing.
Yeah.
So,
dude, good for you. I'm jealous of people who don't get jealous. I wish I had that gene. It just seems so peaceful.
I guess like I've had bad experience with other girls. It's like, if
you don't let it get to you.
If they're going to cheat and leave, it's like, all right, you're lost.
That's what some of my friends say.
It's like you're lost.
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah. I'm talking about the resentments. I hold resentments. Like if somebody cheated on me, I go nuts. But
yeah, I mean, I had a high school girlfriend that stuck it to me. I'm like, to this day, I'm like, you're lost.
Yeah, no, some of my friends say that they're like, I don't really worry about people cheating because the way I look at it is if they cheat, like they're not the kind of person I want to be with anyway. So
that's
it's their loss.
True. Yeah. It's like really like when somebody cheats, it's more of an indictment of who they are than like their partner who got cheated on, like because it's not like they're cheating on you with a better person. They're just cheating on you with another person.
Yeah.
They're just violating that trust so that they can, you know,
that's a
selfishly have whatever pleasure.
That's a love addict. Like that's definitely, could be.
Yeah.
All right. I got a few more questions for you guys. Oh, okay. So this one's for both of you guys.
Yeah.
Are you guys more conscious about your decision making or impulsive? Like, do you think things through or just like do things?
I think things.
You seem that way.
Well, being a business owner, you have to think about it.
Yeah.
You can't just say, "Oh yeah, let me sign up for Grubhub."
Yeah.
And then I don't know the details of it. So instances like that. So now I'm always. It takes me time to say, okay.
This is like I've become that way recently. I was never that way. I was always very impulsive. I floss my teeth now. Like that's just a metaphor for how I'm doing things now. I'm now thinking about the long term of things, and I never used to be that way. I used to be like short term solutions. What about you?
Like a temporary.
Depends on what it is. So most of the time, I'm very conscious thinker. I'm like an overthinker. I like overanalyze situations.
Analysis by paralysis.
Like to a detriment,
or paralysis
like
by
really
analysis.
Bad. Yeah. But then I'm also really impatient. So for some things, I am super impulsive. It just depends on the situation, honestly.
Here's a good example. I think me and him are the same way. So we get a gig offer. It's like, yeah.
I'm super impulsive when it comes to gigs.
When it comes to somebody offers me a gig, I'm like, yeah.
Like you don't
without even say
thinking like, how much does it pay? Where is it? What's it? Like you don't go through that.
I mean,
like, and now I've had to dial that back a little bit because like Sean and Randy both have kids and families.
Yeah.
And so does Vinny. And Vinny's the newest member of the band. He just joined like 2 weeks ago.
But he's sort of on the same page as us.
Yeah, he's really into the like
booking.
gigging out thing. But I'm trying to like dial it back and make sure that it's like worth it for Randy, especially Randy and Sean, to travel, because I don't want them to go to a gig that's like 3 hours away. We play for like 5 people. We don't get paid. And then they end up resenting the band or resenting us, you know? Yeah. I mean, it basically happened in New York recently. Yeah. Yeah, no, this like being conscious type of person is totally a new thing for me. And I think it's the 12-step programs that got me to start thinking that way. Like I don't want to like credit everything I'm doing now from that, but a lot of it has been like a lot of like retraining your brain on how to not make impulsive decisions that are not going to benefit you. It's a good cult.
Yeah, it's a good cult.
It's not bad.
Like an impulse, like you go to a concert, it's like, oh, let me get that t-shirt. But then you don't even think about it. It's like, wow, it just cost me $75. 3 days later, like, why the hell did I get this?
For me, a lot of it was financial stuff. Like I wouldn't really like I'd buy like when I went to get eggs, I would just pick whatever eggs pick. I don't give a shit. So now I look at it, I'm like, wait a second, why is this one more expensive than this one? Yeah. What is the size of the eggs? Or like the toilet paper? I used to get like one roll of toilet paper at a time, and I'm like, I can't afford a whole box. They're $18. Then I'm like, well, wait a second. If I just buy the big box $18, it's going to last me longer. You know what I mean? So I've been
depends what you eat on how long it's going to last. But
yeah, true.
Shopping, I'm definitely impulsive because I hate it. I hate shopping. I'll just I buy what I need. I'm very I'm like immaterialistic, non-materialistic. I don't know. I don't buy a lot of stuff. Yeah. So it's like grocery shopping, Christmas shopping. Like I feel like I could have gotten that done in like a half hour because I would have been the asshole that just buys Amazon gift cards for everybody. Yeah. Like I don't know. Maybe it's thoughtless, but it's also useful. No,
it's more useful.
Shout out to everybody on the internet. I like that, what he said, because anytime anybody gets me a gift, I hate it. I would so much rather you just give me money.
My wife is going to be so mad
that you said that.
This.
Well, it's. I want my boyfriend or husband to get me something special, but everybody else can just get me a gift card.
Like my employees, they give me this. What do you want? So they know what I like music or a liquor store, tattoos.
Yeah.
So they just give me gift certificates, for stuff like that.
I don't know, man. When I want something, I
go out and get it. Yeah.
What's the worst gift you got your wife that she complained like, what the hell is this?
She actually hasn't. So far I've been doing okay as far as gifts are concerned, or she's really good at pretending she likes the things.
One time I was having a really bad back injury, and I had a boyfriend. Shout out to this one of my other ex-boyfriends. Shout out to this ex-boyfriend. He's a great guy. But he got me a book that was called How to Live with a Permanent Disability.
Wow.
I was like, I have a back injury. Is this permanent? Like, and it was like, I think I was in chronic pain over this injury for several months, and he like thought he was doing me this big favor, but it just made me feel so much worse because I was like, I guess, is that how you look at it? Like, I'm just crippled now, basically. I don't know if that's not a lot, or does it say crippled anymore? Is that like offensive now? Sorry, people.
I don't know.
All right.
That's okay.
I have one more question to end the podcast. I think we're hitting that hour-ish mark, 45 minutes to an hour. Okay, this is an interesting question. I want to hear both your opinion. Do you think society is getting better or worse?
Save the biggest question for last.
Yes, and also probably the worst one to end on, because if we're probably going to all have like a
political question too. I guess.
What's that?
It's like almost a political.
I mean, it can be. It can be.
Well, so like, going back to the stuff we were talking about with the phone and the technology and the instant gratification, sometimes I feel like life is getting so much better. It's easier. Like, everything's so convenient. Then I'm like, well, sometimes life is getting worse. Like, and I can't like pick a side. Maybe I don't have a side. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I should go first.
So I don't know. I don't think it's getting like, I don't like words like good or evil.
Gotcha.
So like words like bad and good, I don't think society is getting worse. I think it's evolving. I think we're continuing to evolve.
Yeah.
And like, there are certain skills that are kind of falling by the wayside. Like, a lot of people are like, oh man, this younger generation doesn't read as well, or they don't spell as well, but they do have skills. Like, the kids that I teach, and I teach K to 12, I teach every grade level. Like, and I'm not exaggerating. Like, throughout the week, I teach K to 12. They have real skills, and they have real empathy, and they do care about the world, and they do care about each other as much as teenagers can. Teenagers are basically sociopaths. But like, in the capacity that they do care. So I would say that, like, I haven't given up on the future. I think that there are things about the society that we live in that are outdated.
Yeah.
I think there are certain aspects of the way that we've organized our society that are untenable, and that are either going to have to be replaced, or they will just naturally decay and something else will take its place. Mm-hmm. And as an optimist, I really hope that it's something better.
Yeah. What about you?
Not to get political, but it's like political. I think we're just to disgrace where we're headed.
You don't like where we're headed?
No, not at all.
Why?
Just the president.
Gotcha.
Who used to be a customer of mine back in the day, and you never had money.
Really?
He would just come up, I don't have any money. I'm like, really? And I put this thing up on the boards, I'll be back to pay it. Never. And
wait, Joe Biden was a customer of yours?
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Many times.
Your restaurant?
Yes.
He's from
Delaware.
He's from Delaware.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I could tell you some funny stories there, and he never come back. His wife
was he poor? Like what?
No, he's looking for handouts. And
Joe Biden's watching this. You owe my man some money.
Well, his wife came back a week later and paid it.
All right,
nice lady. But I could tell you stories about the whole election thing where I was getting interviewed, and from guy from Sweden talking to me. I said, well, hey, what do you think of your homeboy being? I said, if I express my opinions, don't worry, it's going to be in Swedish. Nobody can know what you're saying. And I had an old lady in the back of the restaurant. He was asking me that question. What do you think of the president? Your homeboy. And she got up. He's a motherfucking piece of shit. Wow. I was like, phew. And this guy's like from Sweden, like, holy shit, I came to the wrong place to get a positive impact on I don't want to get political, but I think politically it's in the bad direction.
What about like the way the younger generation is? Do you feel
like being a restaurant owner, I've noticed it's harder to find younger kids to work. I have one of my waitresses, she's a driver's ed teacher. She would say, hey, bring me a couple people to work. And she goes, I can't find anyone.
How do they?
Because all the parents are just
paying for them,
paying for everything. They don't want to work, and I could tell, the workers today compared to the kids from, let's say, 10, 15 years ago. It's like a huge difference.
Yeah.
They just don't want to work.
Yeah, no, I don't have any. Do you have kids?
No.
I don't have any kids, but I feel like if I had them, like they're fucking working.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was working at 8 years old.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't working at 8 years old, but the second I could.
Working at 8?
Yeah, my dad's restaurant. Yeah.
That makes sense. You're like helping out.
Yeah. I mean, that's a family business.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, he had a newspaper stand too. So I'd go there every Sunday morning and help out. But,
How am I allowed to ask how old you guys are? Is that a rude question? I'm just curious to see what perspective generation everybody's coming from.
I'm 41. I started working at 14.
Okay. Are you technically a millennial or like on the border?
Yeah, right on the cusp. I'm oldest millennial, I guess.
Elder millennial, they call them.
Elder millennial.
And what are you, like 50 something?
Why do I look it?
I'm
yeah. In 50s.
Not so much you look it, but just based on like the way you're talking and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he's more mature than me. So. That's why I put him in this chair. He's more educated. But
that doesn't mean more mature. Not by any means.
Nah.
Okay. I don't have an answer to my own question just yet. My mind changes every day. Sometimes I'm like, I have faith in where we're going, like with the technology changes and everything. And then sometimes I'm like genuinely terrified.
Oh yeah. Like it's all ups and downs. Like, if you caught me on a bad day, then I'd be like, no, we're fucked. Andrea. Like,
the only thing
Andrea, like we're fucked.
The only thing I will say is like, I've definitely gotten to a point where I'm like, we don't know what's like life just keeps changing. So like 9/11 and then the pandemic and we've got like crazy political figures and not like so now I'm at the point where I'm like anything can happen. Like anything can happen at any point. Like that's where I'm at with the way I feel about the future.
Yeah, no, the political landscape in the country sucks. Like on both sides of it. Like I don't like the Republican Party. I don't like the Democratic Party. I tend to go like swing kind of left wing. In a very, very extreme way.
Bernie Sanders kind of way?
Like Karl Marx kind of way. Yeah. Yeah. So like, I don't know, man. Like, and I know that right now that is the polar opposite of where this country is heading. But like, I don't know. Maybe we need a polar opposite because what we're doing right now is not working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've had politicians come in and say, hey, can I put a sign in the window? I'm like, be at a restaurant or you can't pick sides. I'm like, nah, sorry.
No.
I'm not going to. What are we going to put one window Democrat, the other one Republican because they're both good customers?
Yeah.
I'm like.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have lost faith in the way we do things politically now. Like no one buys it anymore.
I don't
because like,
it's a shame, really.
Whatever little net letter they have next to their name, they only serve like themselves and their donors.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if you have an R or a D next to your name. That's the only people you care about. It's sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the older you get. It's like, I wasn't thinking this stuff in my 30s, politics, but now it's like so divided.
And it's shoved in her face all the time.
I mean, I watch the news, I get pissed. I'm like, I got to.
I swear, the election cycle starts as soon as the last guy got elected. You know, like as soon as Biden took office, it's like 2024. What's going to happen? We're like, can we just breathe? Please?
It's actually going to be now that I think about it, it's literally going to be 2024 in like 2 weeks. Yeah. It's going to be a crazy year. Oh. That's what I mean when anything can happen. It's going to be like what rally, what like weren't they breaking into stores at one point?
I'm so glad I don't have cable anymore, man. Like I don't want to watch the news. I'm good.
Yeah.
Well, that's what some of these cities like LA, Philly, you can steal up to $500 and they're not going to charge you.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've decriminalized a lot of
like you see Philly, they're
a lot of the like petty theft.
Yeah. They're just New York.
Or they've raised the
500 to 1,000, they're not going to charge you.
Yeah, raise the threshold for what felony is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I've noticed happening recently? So there was a lot of construction in this house done the first couple of days I moved here. I don't know when you walked in, if there's like bags of debris outside my apartment. Did you see that? There's like, you probably didn't know, on the way out, you'll notice it. There's like large garbage bags of like debris and stuff from flooring that they like took out and changed. The garbage people come tomorrow to pick it up. But all week long, they couldn't store the garbage in here. All week long, there's been like dumpster divers going through the garbage, like looking for stuff. And You
were looking for stuff?
Not me. The dumpster, like, so people walking by my street see the large garbage bags of debris.
So they're jumping in there.
They look through them, and it doesn't even. The first time it happened, I was actually scared. I was like, oh my God, are they going to break in my house? It's happened so many times now that I'm like, no, they're not going to break in my house.
They're looking for bottles and cans.
But I'm like, what are they even doing?
I mean,
like,
usually recycling like cans and bottles.
What do
possibly,
they want?
and then you can.
Like,
I see it all over.
Is that what they're looking for?
Possibly.
Yeah, I mean,
like
you go to New York and you see them digging in the trash, looking for a cigarette butt to smoke or food.
He was looking for something, and it's been going on all week to the point where at first I was scared. I was like, do I call the cops? Like, I just moved here, and then I'm like, this is not. If they're saying petty theft is decriminalized, they're not going to do anything about that. Like, I'm just like, I guess this is just what I have to live with now.
And it's like, oh, it's your garbage. It's probably not that.
So it didn't bother me that they were going through the garbage. It was more just like at 3:00 in the morning they're doing it and waking me up. Like,
yeah,
it's just like that.
Yeah,
I'm just like for an hour and a half, like they're going through these garbage bags, and I actually was like spying.
They were that loud.
What's that?
They were that loud.
Loud, and like I was spying, like peeking out the window because now I'm just curious. One of them went through there for the longest time, didn't find anything, found a little bit of Windex and sprayed his shoes. It was almost like
can you do my car window while you're at it?
Like, homelessness right now is at like a record high. Like, it's like the last time it was this high was apparently like in the 1970s or 80s.
Yeah.
Because like the housing crisis is out of control. Like, and the thing is like great, they decriminalized petty theft, like, which like would be an effective like way of keeping like the jail population down if you raise the standard of living for people.
Yeah.
Like, people can't afford houses, people can't afford food, people can't afford their bills. Yeah, they're gonna steal shit. Like, that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, that's a Band-Aid on a broken leg. Like, there has to be like a top-down societal approach to fixing these things. Otherwise, you're just setting people up for failure.
Yeah, that's like true. I shouldn't make fun of like the dumpster divers because it's like I'm not in that situation. It's like if someone's willing to do that.
But it's like the government, you had all these homeless vets and homeless people.
Yeah, dude.
But all their money is going to, I'm not going to get political, Ukraine or this charity. I mean, they're sending the money to the wrong place.
There's a bigger reason why
they support the troops, but
they're not supporting the troops. I mean, I see vets. I mean, like, it's a disgrace.
I mean, I don't know, but do you think maybe there's like a bigger reason why they're sending money there that we don't know about or something?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, Ukraine?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Damn. Well, we're going to end the podcast on I don't know if it's a positive or negative note, just a note. I don't know.
Play your song in love with being in love. That'll cheer everybody up, right?
La, 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 la. We're all fucked.
No, I had a good time. So we're going to end the podcast there. So again, for the listeners, this is Pranzata Podcast, episode number 105. I have two band members from Jersey calling, Josh and John, the biblical characters.
Yeah,
I love those names. Let them know where they can. I'll put in the thing. I always say the thing below because I don't know what it's actually technically called. I'll put it in the writing below where you can description. I'll put in the description below, description box, description text, whatever. Someone clue me in on that. I'll put in the description below where you can find their band. Is there anything you want to tell them too about like where to find your band?
So, I mean, we're playing some live shows coming up. We're playing on Friday in Kearney, New Jersey at Jimmy's Lounge. On Saturday, we're playing at The Nail in Ardmore, PA. And then next Friday, we've got this huge record release show going on at Red, White, and Brew Beer Company in Audubon, New Jersey. It's a free show. We're selling vinyls. We're selling T-shirts. We're going to have a beer named after the album. So the album is Parasocial Security.
They're going to name the beer that way permanently?
No. It's just a limited edition brew. It's something that like Sean and Randy had a hand in making with the brewery. It's called Parasocial Stout. It's apparently some kind of tiramisu stout made with like coffee beans and vanilla. And
sounds incredible.
It sounds like a like delicious drink that I'm not allowed.
Oh yeah, I was going to say you can't have it. FYI, they are a punk rock band. So if you're in the Jersey area, Philly area, or if you're not, if you just want to listen to them on Spotify too, you're into punk rock music, check them out. And again, that's it. Also, before we end the podcast, don't forget to hit subscribe to help me grow this channel this year so I can expand the podcast, get it monetized, get, all kinds of different guests on here, a video editor, perhaps, like all the good stuff. And don't forget to comment on anything we talked about throughout the episode. I'm curious to hear your input about some of the topics we talked about, especially some of the controversial topics.
We got real controversial at the end. It's going to be great.
And I was like, okay.
It was your fault by your questions.
I know. I didn't like time them correctly. I put the worst, I put the most.
The bomb at the end.
Well, I should have asked him first because his response was like, we're fucked.
Yeah.
Anyways, Pranzata Podcast. Have a good night, guys. Bye.
Take care.
Take care.